The White House just signed an executive order putting $50 million of federal funding behind a psychedelic compound called Ibogaine. Why? Because some veterans and trauma survivors are calling it the most powerful anxiety and PTSD treatment they have ever experienced. More powerful than years of Zoloft, Lexapro, and other SSRIs. And for the millions of adults stuck on SSRIs with numbness, weight gain, and sexual dysfunction, this could be a game changer. I'm Dr. Air, quadruple board certified psychiatrist and anxiety expert. Ibogaine is derived from the shrub Tabernanthe iboga, native to Central Africa, where it has been used in spiritual and healing ceremonies for centuries. In modern medicine, researchers are focused on two compounds, Ibogaine itself and its breakdown product called Ibogaine. Think of Ibogaine as the spark and Ibogaine as the slow burn that follows. That slow burn can last for days, and many researchers believe it is responsible for the lasting effects people report. Here is what makes Ibogaine unusual. Most psychiatric medications hit one target. Ibogaine hits many at once. It touches your serotonin system, your opioid receptors, your NMDA receptors, and it appears to trigger powerful neurotropic signals, meaning it may actually stimulate brain repair and growth. That complexity is exactly why scientists are excited, and it is also exactly why this drug demands serious caution. In a moment, I'll explain the heart risk that every person considering Ibogaine must understand. But first, let me tell you why this is suddenly front-page news. On April 18, 2026, President Trump signed an executive order directing the FDA to fast-track the review of psychedelic treatments, including Ibogaine. The federal government committed $50 million to research. The FDA commissioner said drugs aligned with national priorities could be approved in weeks rather than the usual 10 to 12 months. Now, I want to be clear about something. A political moment is not the same as a scientific verdict. An executive order does not make a drug proven or safe. What it does is open the door to the research that could eventually tell us whether Ibogaine belongs in mainstream medicine. Right now, Ibogaine is still a Schedule I substance in the United States. That means it is federally illegal. Americans have been traveling to clinics in Mexico and the Caribbean to access it, outside of any regulatory oversight, without standardized screening, and without required monitoring. And many say it has been life-changing. Now, that gap between desperate need and available treatment is exactly why this conversation matters. Let me walk you through the most important study in the Ibogaine and PTSD literature. In 2024, Stanford University published a study in Nature Medicine. 30 male special operations veterans, most of them with traumatic brain injury and severe trauma exposure, received Ibogaine at a clinic in Mexico. Researchers used gold standard clinical tools to measure PTSD, anxiety, and depression before and after treatment. 1 month later, the results were striking. PTSD symptoms improved with an effect size of 2.54. Anxiety improved with an effect size of 2.13. Depression improved with an effect size of 2.80. To put that in perspective, those are exceptionally large numbers. Most psychiatric medications produce effect sizes between 0.3 and 0.5. But here's what I need you to hear just as clearly. This was a study of 30 people. There was no control group, no placebo, no blinding. It was conducted at a private clinic in Mexico, not a regulated research hospital. And the follow-up was only 1 month. That does not mean the results are meaningless. It means they're a signal, a promising, exciting, worth investigating signal, not proof of efficacy. There are also larger veteran studies that showed dramatic improvements in PTSD, anxiety, depression, and suicidality. But those studies combined Ibogaine with another psychedelic called 5-MeO-DMT, along with intensive preparation, group support, and integration therapy. The honest scientific position is this. Ibogaine may have a real therapeutic signal for trauma-related conditions and anxiety, but it is not yet proven by research to replace first-line PTSD or anxiety care, which is why the government is heavily funding new research, especially because there have been many documented benefits from people who have significantly improved their mental health with Ibogaine. If you've been struggling with anxiety for years, trying medications, therapy, supplements, and nothing has fully worked, I understand why a story like this feels like a lifeline. I see that every day in my clinic. Now, if you would like science-based mental health information, please subscribe to this channel for my weekly content. So why would Ibogaine produce such dramatic changes in anxiety and trauma symptoms? Here's the most compelling theory. Your brain has a system for learning and unlearning fear. When you experience trauma, your nervous system essentially burns that threat into memory. That is why PTSD does not feel like a memory. It feels like the threat is still happening right now. Ibogaine appears to do something unusual. It may temporarily increase what researchers call neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to rewire itself. Think of your brain like a landscape with one massive highway running through it. That highway is your anxiety response. Every time something stresses you out, a racing heart, a tight chest, a spiral of worry, your brain merges onto that highway without thinking. It's the fastest route. It's the most familiar route. And after years of use, it is the only route your brain remembers how to drive. Ibogaine may be like shutting that highway down and letting it grow. Suddenly, the brain has to find a different way home. It discovers back roads it forgot existed, calmer roads, gentler roads, roads that do not end in panic. By the time the highway reopens, your brain has already learned that it has options. The serotonin system is involved. Ibogaine, that slow-burning metabolite or breakdown product, has a very high affinity for serotonin, similar to antidepressants, but working differently. There is also evidence that Ibogaine activates GDNF and BDNF, proteins that support brain cell health and repair. For people carrying years of chronic stress, cumulative trauma, or the kind of nervous system overload that builds quietly across decades, the idea that a single experience could reset the system is deeply compelling. This becomes more common as we get older. Chronic stress over years or decades changes how the nervous system responds. For many adults in midlife, hormonal shifts, accumulated life stress, and metabolic changes create a perfect storm that makes anxiety harder to treat with conventional approaches alone. But compelling is not the same as proven. And the next part of this conversation could save your life because Ibogaine can kill you. I do not say that to frighten you away from the conversation. I say it because you deserve to know the full truth. Ibogaine blocks a specific potassium channel in the heart called HERG. When that channel is blocked, the heart's electrical rhythm can become dangerously unstable. This can cause a life-threatening arrhythmia, meaning your heart rhythm goes out of sync. This could lead to a heart attack. Published studies have identified at least 27 deaths associated with Ibogaine use. Case reports describe cardiac arrest occurring even in people without known heart disease. Because of this, the Stanford veteran study used magnesium before and during treatment to help protect the heart. No serious cardiac events occurred in those 30 patients. Traveling to an unregulated clinic abroad is not the same as receiving evidence-based treatment. There is no standardized cardiac screening, no required monitoring protocol, no obligation to report adverse events if something goes wrong. Trauma-focused psychotherapy, CPT, EMDR, prolonged exposure, remains the gold standard for PTSD. Medications like Lexapro and Zoloft are SSRIs, which many people have found to be game changers. Lifestyle changes, including nutrition, supplements, exercise, stress management, and sleep, go a long way in helping the root causes of anxiety and PTSD. Sleep is when your nervous system resets, your stress hormones recalibrate, and your brain consolidates everything it has learned. If your sleep is broken, your anxiety will stay elevated, no matter what else you try. I created a free sleep guide that walks you through exactly how to optimize your sleep naturally. The link is in the description below.